Hello everybody! Today we are going to be painting some Super Fantasy Brawl. Make sure we got everything we need to get. Got a couple people watching already. So this game comes with 6 figures that we're gonna be fighting with. And let me show the figures themselves. So first up to paint, we're gonna paint this girl. I don't know her name, but we've got these. I got this figure primed and toned already, so really we're just going to be adding color to these guys. So I need to figure out what are the right colors. We're going to do some contrast color paint. Should be pretty cool. We've got this guy who's like a pirate dude, and this is what he looks like. And so yeah, there's a lot of metallics, a lot of gold, a lot of purple. So we'll figure out these color schemes when we get to it. This is the Dwarf. And yeah, these figures are pretty chunky, Ted. Yeah, you can see like the size of my hand. They're definitely bigger than normal figures. So this dude, he's got some kind of glowing blue hammer. So I made that a little bit lighter so we can put some blue glow on there. But pretty much it's all wood and steel. Hey, Red Hood is here. How's it going? Glad you guys are here. These painting shows. I don't know what these painting shows, because I always am making this up as I go. So you guys are going to really see the experimentation process. So this guy, I think his name is Kilgore. He looks like some kind of orc or something. He's probably one of the bigger miniatures. So I pretty much just prime these guys black. I dry brush them gray. I dry brush them white. And then I go a little bit more, or not white, but Wraithbone. And I go a little bit lighter on the areas that I think I want to add some color, so I don't want it to get too dark. Because that is a trouble with this type of technique, is that they get dark. So I have actually a new thing that I tried today. I used a lighter gray in the dry brushing, and I think they came out much lighter overall. So that should be pretty good for the contrast colors. We're going to find out if that works or not. And then finally, we got this tiger dude. He's pretty badass looking, actually. He's probably my favorite of the bunch. But how are we going to do this? There's orange in there. There's black stripes. Oh, I hate doing black stripes because they never look good. But we're going to figure it out. So I guess my idea would be to start with this lady. So what do we got going on? I've got a thing of water for my brushes that I'm going to use to paint on the contrast paint. I just got a plain old brush. I'm using contrast paints, and we're going to figure out what colors to use for what when we get to what colors we want to do. So, so she's got 2 different things going on. She's got a fire thing in her hand. She's got a blue thing in her hand. She's got blonde hair. She's got a lot of golden blue palette. So I think the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to start with this Ethermatic Blue. Let's go over here. And, let me shrink myself down because you don't need to see my big fat head. All right, Ethermatic Blue. Now this is more like a turquoise. What I like to do is, you see how it's like a gradient of dark blue to light. So I like to just put a light color on this thing, and we're just going to paint this sort of a lighter, try to keep the light as much as we can. And then I'm going to put blue on the edges, and that should give it like a little like gradient effect. It's not a huge deal, but it'll get there. Right? I'm like, why am I having trouble seeing? Because I need my glasses. Because yes, that's right. I'm an old man. I wear glasses. These are just cheaters. Because miniatures are tiny. All right, so that's first run of that blue color. we definitely want to get some skin tone on her. So I'm just going to use my good old Untitled Flesh. That's my go-to flesh color. And actually I have a better, this is a brand new bottle of it because that stuff kind of gets dried out and gets goopy and gross. Redden says, when I do your 3-tone, I always end up covering 2 with too much white and lose some of the grays and blacks. Yeah. So the trick is, maybe I'll show one, but basically what I do with the tone, when you're dry brushing on the, especially on the whites, you don't want to do this type of motion with the dry brush. You always want to do a circle, because when you do a circle, you're kind of guaranteed it'll never get into the crevices, but the circle will cover more coverage area. So I always do kind of light circles around the model when I do the white, and then it shouldn't fill in too much. All right, here we go. Let's put some flesh. I think she's got legs over here, so we'll put some flesh on the legs. I'm going to probably cover these up with a layer flesh tone, because the contrasts look really great for like men, for like Conan, because they're dirty and they're beat up. But, you know, most time girls need to be dainty and light skinned. So we're going to lighten up that skin a bunch. So really, I'm just kind of figuring out where the skin areas are going to be, which is really going to be her face. And she's got like elf ears back here, so we'll get elf ears. All right, and just wipe off any excess, because we don't really want the contrast to pool on the face. We just need that contrast color. And like I said, the flesh, we're going to lighten that up anyway. Looks like she's got some exposed arms back here, so we're going to flesh up her arms. Give her a little hand. Hand holds that little ball. Hand's holding this thingamajobber, whatever it is, lightning bolt. Yep, I'm just kind of not making sure it's pooling, just getting some kind of coat on there. Make sure that's covered. All right, cool. I think that's all the flesh she's got. She's got a face, she's got arms, she got legs. All right, let's move on to the hair and also the fire. Let's see, I don't know if I've been timing this or not, but it'll be interesting to see how fast these things come together. So here's my Iodine Yellow contrast paint. It is great for doing flames if you put it on thick, because when you put it on thick, it's more than just yellow. It will start to have like these reddish tones to them. So it's pretty much easy way to do fire is just Iodine Yellow and lay it on thick. And you just want to look and see, you want it to be, you want it to pool in the recess areas, because the pooling of the yellow color actually looks reddish like this. But you don't want it to pool too much, otherwise it's just like a glob of red, right? So you want to just spread it around. Yep, that's my go-to fire trick. Iodine Yellow, and then if you want it darker, you can always just do red on the tips or something. But as long as you get the little red in the crevices, you're good to go. Now, the main thing is she's got this big giant lock of hair, and it's all blonde hair. I'm still going to use Iodine Yellow, but now I don't want to see any red. I just want it to be straight up yellow. So I'm just going to spread it very thin. You can see the difference. That's just straight up yellow. There's no, I'm not letting it glob into the crevices. So there's no like touches of red. It's almost like a dry brush because I don't have a lot of paint on the brush. I'm just making sure that the contrast paint is covering. But the minute you see any kind of red, you want to brush that red around, brush it off, because you don't want it to be red when you want her to have blonde hair. But I want it in the flames, so it's two different uses for one contrast paint, just like that. And right now I'm just looking if there's a red area, I'm kind of brushing it off. Human Torch. I think this would work for a Human Torch character, but you're right. You probably, if you're doing like a whole person, you definitely want it more orange to make out the person's outline. So the figure itself would be more orange, but the outside, the flames on the outside would be more like this. All right, cool. Now I'm going to switch over to the blue color because she's got a lot of blue. We're going to do good old Talisar Blue. This stuff is really bright, but it's really heavy too. So you want to be careful how much of it you put on. So the first things first, we definitely want her cape. And we're going to gold trim her cape. And this blue color is so thick. So normally what I would do for gold, and you'll see there are these statues that come with the game that I started painting already. And this is my trick for gold, is that we're going to do this at the end, Agros Dunes is a gold-like color. And then if you just dry brush gold on top of this, it really looks like gold. So typically when I need gold trim or something, I'll do Agros Dunes for the trim, and then it'll be easy to just dry brush it gold. But sometimes if I'm trying to speed paint, I'll just paint the whole thing blue, because that dark blue, gold will go on top of the dark blue just fine too. So we can do it either way. Hey, Crickstar is here. And mystery 4th and 5th watcher. Yes, people are skulking in the shadows. All right, so we will start putting on some blue. This is her blue thingamajobber. And I really don't care if it goes around the edges, because I'm going to fix it later. Because those edge trims are going to be gold, and gold is a really thick color, so it'll pretty much go over anything. So I don't have to be super careful, but I am going to leave it a little bit for me to put some Agros Dunes on here to make the gold better, a lighter gold. If you just use gold by itself, it will be a little bit dark. All right, so we just get some blue on our little stuff. And here's where also with this lightning, I'm gonna make sure it's kind of, my brush is kind of dry. I'm just gonna put a little bit of that blue on the edges. It's almost like a dry brush. I don't know if you can really see that on the camera, but this makes it a little bit more dynamic. All right, let's get this giant, I don't know what you call it, cape or dress. I guess it's a dress. Problem is on VGA, the minis are 2D flat, so it's hard to tell what certain things are. Yeah, and this is one of the games too that normally miniatures games are okay to play unpainted. They'll either have color coding that'll tell you what the difference is, or even though the mini's not painted, you can kind of tell what it is. These miniatures, when we did the playthrough of this game, it was near impossible to tell which one was which. You could really just tell by the size, but you couldn't really tell the characters apart until it got until I did the dry brushing on this. Then I'm like, oh, that's who that character is. So these are really kind of weird models that don't really look so great until you get them painted. So this is one you definitely want to get them painted. I don't think there's any reason not to. All right, so that's that. Let me do this. Hopefully you guys can see that. All right, again, I could have just painted the whole thing blue and then painted gold on top of the blue, but I do want the gold to be a little bit lighter, so that's why I'm going to do the aggro stones on this. All right, and the funny part is it looks like her boots are not blue. They look almost like gray. It's like a gray, I don't know what you call it, like a silk stocking gray kind of color. I don't know what that would be, but so let's, oh yeah, and her little visor is kind of grayish too. So all right, one last bit. I'm going to make these little guys, these little gem things. It looks like turquoise, so we'll go back to our turquoise really quick. Beth says, my wife is like, I don't want to learn any new games. You have too many. Yeah, sometimes I'm that way too. We have so many games that we got to get playing, and some of them are they're just so thinky. Like the next couple of games we have for She Hates Games, like I mentioned, I have to do War of the Ring. That is a pretty beefy game. I've got Clash of Cultures, which is a pretty beefy game. And that Defense of Procyon game, oh my God. That's one even I'm like, because that one it's a humans versus aliens game, but there's humans on the planet and humans in space and aliens on the planet and aliens in space, and each faction has an asymmetric ability, so you've got to figure out how each faction goes together. It's just quite ridiculous. All right. So I've been dreading learning that one. All right, cool. Now I'm going to do aggro dunes around all of these trim areas, because that's where I want to put the gold. All right, this is the most versatile contrast paint ever. It works as sand, it works as skeleton skin, it's pretty much the greatest thing to do. All right, so we're going to put this on the trim. It looks kind of dark now, but it's going to look better when we put the gold on top of it. This is just a way to give us like a foundation of the gold color that we're going to put the gold on top of. And I've done most of the work with the shading here, so you don't really have to put globs of contrast, because normally with contrast paint, you want to put it on thick so it'll go into the crevices, but I've already got my shades done in the crevices for the most part, so all you have to do is get the color on it. And that's why you put on the color pretty light, just to get it to where it needs to be. All right, there's that. There's that. Oh, I forgot the inside of her cape needs to be blue too. We'll get back to that in a second. Here's a little trim here. Trim here. Trim, trim, trim. Trim chimney tree. All right. It's all trimming together. Now, some of this, you'll see the blue is overlapping, but when I put the gold on top of this, gold will cover everything. So if I mess up or anything, the gold will be a part of it. Darker colors always cover lighter colors. So whenever you're doing any of this, you want to make sure that you put the lighter colors on first and the darker colors on later. There's a motorcycle cop who drives up and down Irvine Boulevard catching people on their phones at night. Yeah, don't drive with your phone, that's for sure. That's the beauty of when we moved from California to here. Like, we don't need car anymore. So it's so great to not have to think about texting and driving or driving in general. We don't have to do it. All right, cool. Oh yeah, and her little tips of her toes are going to be gold too. So we'll do gold tips on the toes. Again, this is speed painting, so I don't want to go too crazy, because you could really go overboard in different colors, how many different colors you want to have on the model. All right, this stuff's going to be gray, and her pants are going to be gray. And that pretty much, we're almost there. We're just going to do this. We're going to do this. Get that trim finished. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm kind of just putting it on top of even the blue, because the blue is darker than the Agros Dunes. So, you know, I don't have to be perfect putting it on. All right, cool. All right, let me go back to blue and just clean up those areas. All right, first inside of the cape needs to be blue. I do hate when models have like wonky insides and they're hard to get to, and then it's a pain. This one's not so bad, I guess. All right, and this is also blue. Blue pauldron. All right, just like that. We're 20 minutes in and got one figure ready. One last thing we want to do on this is put the gold, and let's do this gray first real quick. So I have this really great new gray that I use. It's called it's called Griff Charger Gray. And it's better than doing a normal gray because it has a little bit of a blue tinge to it, which is kind of cool. So we're going to use that for this, for the legs. I don't know if you can see that. Because she is blue, so you don't want to just throw in grays that might make it look weird. There has to be some color matching after all. But this stuff goes on really light, so that's why I kind of put it on heavy. So you get more color and less bleed through. And then these things are also blue. Or gray, I should say, blue-gray. This is like a little helmet thing. All right, cool. One thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to show you, because Red Hood wanted to see that technique to lighten things up without making it totally crazy. So again, I'm going to take my Wraithbone base paint, and I'm going to take just one of these, eyebrow brush things. I'm going to do some dry brushing. So I'm just going to take some of the Wraithbone. I'm going to put it on a napkin, scrape it around. What I want to do is, in all the pictures I've seen, I think people think these pointy things are grass. So I think I'm going to try to paint these green, but I don't want, you can see that they're really, really black. So I'm just going to lighten these up a little bit. And if I just do a scraping motion, you see I'll get a glob of paint on there. So I just want to kind of do a really light circular motion like this. And that should lighten up the area without making it totally globby. All right, so that makes the foundation a little bit lighter for us to work with. And what do we want to work with? Well, we definitely want to make that grass green because we said it was green, right? So let's go to our brightest green color, which is good old Orc Flesh. Orc Flesh is the way to do it. Best of Star Trek says, have you ever played Barrage? Yes, we had Barrage. That was one of the first games we did on the channel, and Diana hated it so much that she always says Barrage in the show to reference a Euro game that she really hates because oh my God, she hated it so bad. I thought it looked pretty cool. It's just too much setup for too little payoff. Like, even the solo mode was just too much work. So it was a really cool idea, but I think it didn't do so hot. It didn't win in the end. Tom, what do you do if you accidentally get a dark on a light color that you have to fix? Will you repaint the light color and start over? I will. And Wraithbone is your friend, so you can pretty much, if you mess up, you can pretty much paint over and start over, or just spot paint the thing that you messed up. All right, so I think that's the grass. It's so weird that this grass is so pointy, but it does sort of look like grass, I guess, when you finally paint it. I'm putting a little bit more effort into her because she is a cool looking hero model. The others seem to be mostly just metallic, and metallic should be pretty quick to paint. So that's why I'm taking a little bit more time with her, but the others we can probably breeze through pretty quick. All right, so that is that. Now I just want to have kind of a brownish dirt color, so I can once again go back to my Agros Dunes. Crickstar says, I sometimes wonder if contrast paint is faster with the amount to back to white redos I would do. Well, actually, you wouldn't, because that's the beauty of the way I do it, is that once you have these base tones done, you're literally just slapping on paint. You really can't, like, you can see, even if I put this Agros Dunes on top of the grass, it's not going to make the grass any less grass at this point. So and this Agros Dunes might even be a little bit too light, but just put on a little bit more of it. Make it look like the ground. And, you know, it is the same color as her little trim right now, but as soon as we put the gold on there, it will be different. And there you go. One thing you might want to do, I'm just showing you guys tricks now, is that there is this Gore Grunt of Fur is your go-to super dark brown. I mean, this stuff is like, you might as well be painting black. So if I just take some and make sure it's almost like a dry brush, and I can just put it on in the like crevices, it'll make it a little bit darker overall. Make it look more like dirt than sand. Because Agros Dunes is really your sand. It's your go-to sand color. That's a little bit better. All right, only 2 more things and she's done. We just need to put the gold trim on her, and we need to give her some flesh. Any thoughts on 3D printing? Well, I do have lots of thoughts about it. First off, I actually have a lot of issues with particulates in the air. I really can't. I must have too much. I must have breathed too much fumes or something as a kid. So I really can't. I don't like. So you'll notice I don't prime anything with spray paint. I don't use any aerosols or anything like that. Anything that will put stuff into the air. And I pretty much I like to use acrylic paints because they're all non-toxic. So even if I get particles of this up my nose, it's not gonna kill me. The thing with 3D printing, no matter what 3D printer you use, it is a bunch of particulate in the air. You got to have a dedicated place to put it. You've got to have great ventilation, no matter if it's a PLA printer or a resin printer. And then God forbid if you got a resin printer, oh my God, the danger of those chemicals, and it's not worth it in my mind. I'd rather pay someone on Etsy to 3D print something. Now, if I had a huge house with a garage I could dedicate to it, maybe I would, but at this point in a 1-bedroom apartment, I am definitely not doing a 3D printer. And if you happen to want to get a resin printer, all I have to say is be careful. I mean, definitely uncured resin is probably the worst stuff you can have around, and that printer is going to have stuff all over your house if you don't do it right. All right. Just putting some gold on top of the aggro dunes that we put before. A lot of times this is just going to kind of give a shininess on top. It's not really changing the dunes that we put. It's just ensuring that it catches the light. And also I get to clean up some of the mistakes I made if I got blue over it. Here's another tip. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm actually using my pinky on the model to basically balance my hand when I do this, like this very fine detail work. You definitely don't want your hand to be like, whoa. So I kind of like base it somewhere so I can make sure that it's covered. It doesn't go all over the place. Right. Yep, and it's really, a lot of it is almost like a dry brush. You don't have to like glop it on. I'm just like highlighting areas where I would want shine to happen. And it's funny, you should be using different brushes for different things. But I always tend to use one big brush if I can help it, because I don't like to switch brushes. But then when you do this tiny detail work, it gets a little harrowing when you're like, oh, this brush is too big to fit in this tiny little space. All right. When you get a chance, can you create a painting channel on Discord so we can all post painting pics? Oh yeah, we can. If you guys don't mind, I'll just make it on the She Hates Games. I can make a new channel called Painting. That would be cool. We can all share the painting progress. For me, I got so much to paint because that. Well, this is another reason why I like the idea of this game, because it's only 6 miniatures. And that's why I'm able to take my time a little bit more with this one, because it is only 6 miniatures. But like when I do War of the Ring, that's like 200 plus miniatures I got to paint. And granted, they're tiny, but it's a little taxing to do so much at once, which is sort of why we haven't done it yet. All right, we are getting there. It's funny too when you see like little details that you didn't realize until you start painting. Like I didn't realize she has this little golden belt. Now I'm like, I gotta make sure this little belt is covered. Funny how that works. All right. It's a little chunky. I might clean it up later, but it's good enough for now. All right, so then one last thing I want to do is just give her some lighter flesh because she definitely is looking dark in the flesh area. So we're going to go to my go-to flesh color, which is a layer paint called Kislab Flesh. If you don't have this, you should get it. It's my miracle flesh color. Because it's a layer paint, it goes over the flesh paints. It'll go, so you can really just use it to highlight instead of like just painting the whole thing, but it's just a good way to lighten up these skin tone areas. All right, and then we'll do her little arms. See how that brightens that up. It is quite amazing, this stuff. It looks just like skin. All right, and then with the face, what I end up doing is I start with just lightening up her nose and her cheeks. Her cheeks are kind of covered up by this stuff, but I don't want to. I gotta be careful not to go too heavy because I want to keep these little shadows. Yep, I think that'll do it. All right, I think we can call her done for now. I might do some cleanup later, but for the most part, we got everything we wanted to do. On to the next one. Who do you guys think we should do next? We got Pirate Dude. We got Dwarf Dude. We got Troll Dude. Bow and Arrow Chick and Tiger Dude. Well, Tiger Dude's probably the hardest, so let's try to do him next. All right. Yeah, they look better from far away too. The key is that you just want to get them to look good on the table. So, I'm not going to win any awards, but it's all good. Yeah, I probably will put some a little blue highlight on this to make it a little bit more lighter. But overall, it's cool. All right, here we go. Tiger me up. So the tricky part with the tiger, I think, is going to be this face because there's a lot of white in the face. So pretty much we want to really just hit the middle area is going to be orange. So let's get our orange areas going. So we have our Griff Hound orange. And what are we looking to do? Well, definitely his nose is orange. So let's get the nose going. And that can go into the eyes too. Basically, this whole area is orange. ears are orange. Got it. Yeah, because he's got like a little headband thing going on here. This is definitely still all going to be white. But his hair is orange to white to black, which is interesting. So I guess we'll make his hair orange. I guess that makes sense. If he's a tiger or whatever, it's not like he's going to be a tiger with different colored hair. All right. And yeah, I guess this is orange. This goes this way. And this is orange. Yeah, this is my first time ever painting a tiger, I think. So, very interesting. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this whole thing orange, and then I'll put white and black on top. Because why do I need to worry about it? All right. Now our dude's got some orange guns, but he's got a lighter kind of front or chest area. That's more like a cream colored. So let's just do this. All right, this is all a giant glove, and then, yeah, oh, I see his hands under here. It's interesting, some of these models, like you don't even know what the hell's going on until you start painting it. Like you would think this is a hand, but this is not. This is some hand covering or something. So weird. Okay, Smith 78's here. Oh, the tail was a pain for me. Was sad they didn't add any texture for stripes. Yep, it would have been so cool if they did add texture for stripes for sure. But talking about the tail, let's put some orange on this tail and get it going. Yeah, the stripes is going to be the hardest part, I think. But we're going to see if we can get some cheat code going to make it easy for everybody. All right, there we go. And now we've got, yep, these are all orange feet. And that's just knee pads, basically. All right, cool, that works. Right, and then this is an orange foot. Orange foot, orange foot, orange foot, 3 orange feet, please. Name that movie. All right. I do like when things move out of the way so you can have some way to get to stuff you want to get to. All right, that's cool. Oh yeah, and then he's got some orange hand over here. And orange here. All right, I'm digging it. Yes, Ted, Blues Brothers. All right. Next thing I'm gonna do is he has like a cream colored chest. I'm gonna do my good old, you can't even see the name of it, but it's called Skeletal Horde. Skeletal Horde is the name of this color. And it's like just a super light brown. I'm gonna put it here on his top of his arms and on his chest. That just gives us the idea of that dual tone thing going on here. I don't think it even matters, but we'll see how that goes. All right. Next thing, we want to go back to our aggro stoons. Yes, Skeletal Horde. And we want to do anything that we think is going to be gold. So he's got a little headband that's gold. So we'll just do that. Right. I guess that is hair, so it should also be orange. All right, it is in shoulder pads are gold. We're just going to make all the gauntlets gold. Because this is speed painting and we don't want to spend a lot of time on it. So we'll make all of his metal parts gold. Or it's going to be gold once I put the gold on top. All right. I'm going to make this middle part more silver, so I'm going to actually paint that all gray, but this top part is gold for sure. All right, that helps things a bit. Now, it looks like he's got a purple cape, so we can make it purple. Yeah, that makes sense. Purple is the color of kings, and he's the king of the jungle, right? No, that's a lion. This is a tiger. So let's go ahead and grab a purple. The trouble I have with the contrast paints in my purple is that there's only super light purple and super dark purple, no kind of in between. So we're going to go with the light purple and see how that looks. What I'll end up doing is probably doing a light purple and then doing some kind of a red dry brush on top. Yeah, you can kind of see how light that is. All right, and again, on this, I already have shadows built into my base, so I don't really need the contrast paint to pool or anything. I'm really just putting a light color on top. Yes, there are cool videos. We actually, we used to live in San Francisco, and we had a membership to the San Francisco Zoo, and they had a thing called Breakfast with the Lions or something, and we went, and you get to basically go into the lion cage and you get to see the lions getting fed. And man, you think a YouTube video is crazy. Them growling in person, or they call it barking, it's scary as shit. It's crazy. I mean, I'm surprised we are able to tame those beasts. They're a little bit too much. All right, cool. So that's purple. It's still too light of a purple, you can tell. So, but it's not horrible. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go to a shyish purple, but this stuff is really like, it's almost like black. I mean, it's definitely, I don't know if you can even see that on the page. So what I'm going to do is I kind of dabbed the contrast paint off the brush so it's not like super thick. I'm just going to kind of give it almost like a dry brush to kind of just darken it up a little bit. So I must be the only person that dry brushes with contrast paints. You can see it doesn't pool, and it's really just kind of making it a little bit darker without having to, repaint. The great thing would be is if they actually had a dark purple color that wasn't like black, but what can you do? You just got to work with what you got, right? All right, you can already see the difference between with that little bit of dark purple and without. Again, you got to dab it off the brush so that way it doesn't glop on. So even that's kind of too much. And you want to leave some of the areas that wouldn't have natural highlights, leave them lighter. All right. And that's actually, yeah, not a bad color. That's pretty much where we want to be. It's a little too purpley, but I'm not gonna get crazy. All right, so that's cape done. Now we're gonna do a gray for this bottom part because we're gonna definitely put silver on top of that. The first thing I want to do is I want to go back to the orange because it's not really shown, but he's not really wearing pants, so this needs to be orange. And this top of his head can be orange, and then it'll make the head kind of more look like it's all one piece. All right. All right, now let's do the gray. We'll do some green, and then we're going to try to do some stripes. Ugh. Are you scared? Who's scared about stripes? You shouldn't be scared about stripes. All right, so let's do just straight up gray. So I have a, here's my gray that I go to, my good old Basilicum gray. Basilicum gray. And we're just gonna gray up this part. And also these handguard things are definitely darker. Also the handles to the swords are darker. That's all some gray. Gray, 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 everybody's cool. All right. We're getting there. All right, let me go really quick back to that dark purple because this is the OCD in me, but right at his neck, you can see that it's still kind of not cape. So we're gonna make sure that's colored in. Nice and light. Let's see. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. All right. Now we're going to do some green. So we're going to go back to our orc. Beth says, I have to go see him. A great job on the painting. If I drop out, I'll catch all the next time. Yep. Come see the show on Friday, and you'll see all of these painted in their final form. This is just Tom screwing around, figuring out what works. All right, so yeah, it looks like his belt is green, so we are going to paint this Orc Flesh green for the belt. Looking good. And it looks like his swords are green, but the tips of them are gold. So we're just gonna put green on the non-tips. You can see I already put too much green on this. It should not be pooling like this, so I definitely want to kind of soak it up with the brush. Use it on the other side. All right, cool. Do the same on this one. And voila, green swords. And these will be yellow or gold. All right. Yep, let's go back to aggro student really quick, and because those yellow spots are where my yellow is going to go. So I want to make sure that it is dunesed up. Beth says, I was waiting for the green. Well, now you've got it. So this handle is going to be gold. This pommel is going to be gold. And these edges are going to be gold. Piece of cake. All right, now we got our areas. Everything that is aggro dunes, we're going to put gold on top. Everything that's gray, we're going to put silver on top. And, well, yeah, and then we might want to do some black. Just make the end of his ponytail a little bit darker. But that'll happen when we do the stripes. All right, so let's do some silver and gold. And then we'll stripe it up. Redhead said his April is trash. Well, there's no such thing as trash. It's just, it is what it is. You got what you got. All right. Yeah. What was I doing? Gold. Let's get some gold out there. Oops, gotta shake it up. All right. Well, definitely this thing is gold for sure. Some gold gem here, some gold gem here. It's almost like I'm just doing a dry brush. Definitely want these things to be shiny. Yeah, it looks like there's like this little notch. It's also gold. Oh yes, gold. This Auric armor gold is my favorite metallic gold. It really it spreads well and it looks very shiny. And it can also be, if you put it just dry brushed on black, it really looks like rusted. So there's a lot of cool different ways you can use it. And this stuff, when it's under the model, like no one's ever going to see behind that sword. So like I could do a lot of work to try to bend this out and try to paint it perfect, but no one's going to see it. So what does it care? What do we care? We don't care. All right. Get some more gold going. Gold rivets. Beep, bop, boop, beep. Yep, gold trim. Gold trim complete. Oh no, I got knee pads here I got to get done. Sorry, knees. You always forget about the knees. All right, cool. Now we're just going to do some silver down here. So I'm going to switch to my silver. Yes, he's supposed to be on grass too. So we're definitely going to paint this green as well. That's definitely grass. All right, so silver is our standard Rune Fang Steel. Where's my Rune Fang Steel? There it is. Rune Fang Steel. It's the best steel in the business. This one I definitely want to do more like a dry brush, so I'm definitely going to kind of dab it on the brush and just kind of I don't want it to be so thick. See that circular motion I was talking about? Circular like that, then it doesn't get too thick. All right, there we go. That might be a little bit too much, but it's just speed painting. Who cares? All right. Yeah, I guess we need to do the grounds. Let's let's give him some grass. If everyone's getting grass, he deserves grass, right? This is the last part we got to do are the stripes, and we're gonna find out just how hard that actually is going to be to do. Grass, 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 grass. And this is grass. Piece of cake. All right, and this is some grass over here, so maybe this is kind of a grassy knoll. All right. First, we're going to put this Agro's Dunes. That's my dirt. Put that there. Put that all over there. Put that all over there. Spread it around. Make it feel good. All right, cool. I'm just gonna do. I don't know if you noticed, but his little toenails got a little orange on them, so I'm just gonna clean that up really quick. Right, you want those to be a little bit more sharp claws coming at you. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Let me make sure his whiskers, his white whiskers are where they need to be. All right, cool. I think the only thing left to do is the thing we're all been dreading to do, which are the stripes. So, here's what we're going to do. It's hard to do these with contrast paints, but I have tried to do stripes with grays and it doesn't work, so I have to do it with the black, good old black Templar. And yeah, this is not good. I gotta throw this out. This is my workable black Templar. All right, and this is where we need to freehand some crazy stuff. So if we look at this as pretty much a stripe, and then it's a little bit on edge. So let's give it a shot. We'll start up here and just do a stripe and see what happens. And here's where I can also look on the internet and I'm going to just do a search for tiger stripes. Because normally I don't even do stripes, but yeah, I think yeah, we're looking at something like look at all these horrible images. But I think it's something like this where, especially on the tail, it's just going to be a bunch of kind of fuzzy stripes maybe. Oh yeah, so there's some kind of back and forth stuff going on there too. So we can just fuck around with it, I guess. So I'm just gonna do some kind of random striping and see. I think there's if you can get an alternating like this kind of thing going, that's where maybe it'll work a little bit. So I think the thing is you don't want to see the origin of the stripe. You just want to see the edges of the stripe, especially on the tip of the tail like this. You want to kind of alternate edges so they kind of look like this. That's what I got out of it. I don't know if this looks like ass or not, but something like that. The key is wherever the edges are, it has to be a tip. So then you can kind of make these wider. This has to be, right? Look up Tony the Tiger. So yeah, I think it doesn't look horrible. I just want to be able to make sure that they look like maybe pizza slices, something like that. You know, you wanted to have a all right, and then he's got a couple of stripes on his arms, I guess, so we can just do like this. All right, well, that tail is hot garbage, but I can fix it later. Yeah, I'll make the back of his braid a little bit darker. Hey, but that's why we try things, right? So we tried, we failed. I'll probably just paint over this and do it again, but hey, that's why we live life, to try things and then turn them around. But anyway, so there you go. We got the tiger. He's done. Let's go on to the next one. All right. I only got one or two more left in us. I think it's time to get Kilgore done. Good old Kilgore is some kind of a troll. So the first thing is that we want to do his flesh, his man flesh. And I have the perfect thing for it. It's called Plague Bear Flesh. Plague Bear Flesh. Red Hood. That's right. You get what you get. All right, so this big chin thing is some kind of metal thing. So really, we just care about his face, his ears. Face and ears. Yeah, this looks like all flesh under here. And then this is all mechanical arm. All right, this is normal arm here. So let's do this area. It's also this underarm, I guess. This is a robot leg, and this is a real leg, I guess. So it's going to be flesh there. Yeah, this guy's going to be so easy to do. Let's get his tail. Do I have some of the very first models I ever painted? I do. And it's funny, I was gonna do a whole show to show some of the older games that I painted, because only recently I've been doing this kind of priming toning method. Before, I would just do all Wraithbone and just do all contrast paints, and for some of it that works just fine, but for most of it doesn't work very well. It just looks too cartoony or too clumpy. All right, cool. I think I'm just going to, yeah, this is going to be a gray with gold tones like the other guys, sort of, but it's going to be silver and gold. So let's just go back to our original palette. Let's get the aggro dunes for our. So in short, I'm not happy with some of the older things that I painted, for sure, but some of the newer things are much better. And also, for the record, that's why I have not yet painted my Blood Rage or my Rising Sun, because I definitely wanted to do a good job with those, and I didn't want them to be too rushed. So they're on the docket to do in the summertime. We're going to have a big old paint session for those, because those are ones that I'm probably going to do more than just speed painting. I'm going to try to actually make them look good. All right. We're just highlighting the edges of what's going to be gold. He's got a golden belt. Yes, he does. Let's just make that gold. Too clumpy. That describes the nightmare that is my April O'Neil. Yeah, I mean, that's the trouble, is that miniature painting is an art in itself, because there's what you think you should paint and what's actually going to read on the model. And the trouble with these models is that they're so tiny that if you could paint it exactly realistically the way it's supposed to be, but it's not going to look that way when you finally paint it, because it's viewed from so far away and it's so tiny. So you have to kind of cheat in or dumb down the color palette to make it so that way when someone looks at it from far away, or someone's looking at it as just a miniature, it actually you can pick up things on it. That's the hardest part to all of this, is figuring out the best way to make sure the colors work and they pop. but it still kind of fits the original idea of what the model is supposed to be. All right, these are, yep, that's gold. This is gold. Yeah, we should do Big Trouble in Little China is on my list to finish as well. So maybe we should do a group paint session for that. Because I did paint my Jack Burton figure in the Big Trouble in Little China is the one figure I did paint, and it came out really great, but it was all just Wraithbone primed and then just contrast paints. So sometimes those do work. You just, but now I'm afraid to do all my other Big Troubles with darker palette when Jack looks so awesome. So I got to figure out how to make that work. All right, cool. I think we got all the gold bits. So now we can go and do the gray bits. Okay, let's get this bit. This is gold. Gold, gold, gold. Oh, this is like green on the inside. Look at that. It's like green. We didn't even know there was going to be another green bit to figure out. That's cool. That's cool. After you make the paint sub-channel on your Discord, post it, Jack, so we can see it. Oh, yeah. I might pull it out right now and show you guys. All right. One last thing before we do the grays is that he does have some little kind of cloth area, and that does look like it is blue. But it looks more like my Griff Charger gray, so we're going to do that. Yep, blingo, blingo. Piece of cake. All right, cool. Now let's just go straight up gray, because gray is the greatest to put silver on top of. It really ends up looking, especially if you have something that looks like chainmail or any kind of metal. Oh, that's interesting. This inside his hand is green. So we have some green highlights going on here. All right, so we're definitely going to put this as gray. All right, he's got like breastplate. It's definitely good to put gray, so silver will get on it. Mechanical legs look great with gray and then silver on top. What else we got? This plate mail needs to be gray. These spikes can be gray. It's at any point now, anytime I put gray, it just looks silver to me because I know what it's going to look like at the end. But I do like that, you know, because I used to do black. And then and then put silver on top of black, and that looks really good if you want like really rusted kind of metal. But the trouble was, you know, I did all this work shading before I put the contrast paint on, so I want whatever comes under to actually come through. So like in this case for his hair, I would normally have done contrast black, but it literally just takes all of anything out of it. Like it kills all of the texture and it just turns it into a giant black goo. So if you do a couple of layers of gray, then it looks more black, but you can still get the highlights and the shadows. So that's what you really want to go for. All right, this is definitely also going to be gray. This is gray. That's gray. And yeah, this is gray. But the claws are actually gold. I need to go back and put aggro tunes on those claws. Cool. Yeah. These models that have silver end up being a lot easier because then they can they're easy to, even though it's one color, it still has interest to it because you're going to put a metallic on it. I always pull right from the pot. I don't do any palette. I don't have a wet palette or anything like that. And that's why I don't like to mix paints if I don't have to. I want it to be as easy as possible for me. So I don't, when you see me dab into something, I'm dabbing right into the pot. Right. Let me go back to my dunes really quick and do those claws. And then we're going to, I missed a piece of his skin. Let me do that now. This zombie color is for his fingers. I missed that last time. Now we're going back to our dunes. Aggros dunes. And we're going to paint these claws. Yeah, even without the gold, just aggro dunes on top of a textured wash definitely looks kind of bronzy, or it just definitely looks like it should be metal when there's darkness underneath it, for sure. Right, that center is green, so let's put some green in there. That flesh color is called Plague Bearer Flesh. That's really nice, like yellow zombie flesh color, which also works for this yellowish trolly looking guy. All right, Orc Flesh. Some green. I think this is also green. And something else is green up here. Oh, it's under there. All right, cool. We're almost there. We're just going to put some metal on it, and I think he'll be about done. while I got the green out, let me, it does look like this guy he's standing on grass too. Might as well do his base while we got it. Oh, that's right. This whole thing is green. Yep. You'll see how this is almost like a glowing green, but this is really dark. So one thing I might want to do is maybe lighten that up a little bit. So let me take a little bit of this wraith bone and just put it in the middle. Yeah, that makes it glow a little bit more. All right, so let's go back to our orc and put it on. Thanks for reminding us that this needs to be green. Green and green. Cool. Let's go to our silver. Silver it up. All right, now normally I would do a dry brush with this stuff with a larger brush, but these are like little tiny nooks and crevices. So, and actually some of this gray is still drying, so let me do the gold first. Let's shake it up. Shake, 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 shake. Some people have like little shaking machines and stuff, and I'm like, that's a little bit too much. All right, he's got a gold chin. Gold chin. All right, he's got gold pauldron things. Yeah, so pretty much everywhere we did the aggro Stoons trim, we're just going to put some gold on top. Just give it some shininess. And what we don't, like if I get in any of these gray areas, I don't have to worry about it because I'm putting silver in those areas so I can cover up any mistakes if I get crazy. Cool, cool. All right, there's that. There's this kind of thing. This thing. These things. So I'm sort of dry brushing this stuff on, not getting it too gloppy or anything like that. Anywhere where I would think it would be shinier is where I would try to glop it on a little bit more. But ultimately, I'm just trying to do it fast. All right, cool. Yeah, some of these areas that got too dark, you can put the gold right on top. Work is getting in the way of our paint show. Oh, because Crickstar's got to go. Man. All right. Well, cool. It's all good. All right. So I think we've got all of the gold parts covered. Pretty simple. So now we're just going to put some silver on this bad boy, and I think we're good to go. All right. Now we go back to the Runefang Steel. And same business. We're going to just kind of dry brush over it. Ted says, I think to myself, I should try painting minis. Then I watch Tom and I feel so inadequate. No, I'm not doing anything special here. I'm just throwing paint on the thing. There's nothing you have to be crazy about. Yeah, I just wanted to pick up that little bit of metallic, so it is definitely dry brushing in the sense that you want to make sure there's not a lot of silver on there. And less is more when it comes to the silver, because if you do it all silver, you want it, it'll look just like a giant glob of silver. But if you leave some of the black areas black, then that's when it really looks like silver picked up on it. I had to go look at that April picture. I think everyone is so enamored by it. All right, so you can kind of see it looks like, you know, dented, rusted armor. So that silver works pretty good. Yeah, I think we got it. I think the only thing left is the edge of his tail is not green. It's kind of a brownish. So maybe we'll just put a little bit of brown on there. All right. Yeah, I think I'll just do some dunes. My go-to Agros dunes. There you go. And it's not like this is yellow and this is brown. It makes it just a little bit darker because of that hint that it's fur and not skin. All right, cool. That's Kilgore. We could do some of the basing, but I can finish that up later. So we'll try to do one more of these guys. actually, while I got the metallics out, I'll show you guys the game also has these crazy statues, and so I painted the statues. And yeah, we need to put some gold on these statues too. So same deal. This is just aggro stones on top of some stuff. And this time I'm actually going to use a little bit of a bigger eyebrowy kind of brush. Yeah, something like this. It's got a nice loose tip to it. I'm going to do a straight up real dry brush this time. I just want to make sure that the bigger the brush, the faster you can get it done. But also this, you can't get into smaller spaces with it. So that's why you want to make sure you're using the right brush for the right job. Here's some dwarf looking dude. Give him some good gold. All right, one more down, and I think these statues are done. Yeah, this is like some crazy wizard dude. It looks pretty impressive on the board, I'll tell you that. When you see it on Friday, it's pretty crazy. All right, I think those are done. All right, I think we got time for one more dude before I call it. So I think we might want to do this little dwarf dude. Dwarf me, bro. Dwarfin' and dwarfin'. All right, so there's a lot of blue going on here, so I'm going to start with the blue. We're going to do the same thing we did for the girls' lightning. We're going to start it with this Ethermatic Blue. Like a really nice light blue color. And we'll put some real blue on that later. Just like with the yellow flame, you definitely want to have something in the recesses to make it look more like a flame. All right. Let's get some flesh on this guy. This is truly going to be speed painting. Where is my flesh? Here it is. Go to my flesh. Yep, there are some games that you spend more time painting than playing, that's for sure. For me, there's more games that I play that I need to get painted. I don't know if you guys remember, but I did a game called Daimyo, which is like this Japanese area control game, and it's really awesome. It's got really awesome miniatures, and I haven't finished painting any of them. But I love to play it, especially as a cool solo mode. All right, so that's Dude Man's got flames. He's got that Let's just go to gray. My first paints took me 6 hours a mini for about 7 minis. No way I spent 42 hours playing that game. Yeah, that's the trouble with miniature painting. You've really got to give yourself a limit of like maybe an hour per mini tops. Otherwise, it's just not worth it. All right, here we go. Let's get some gray because he's got gray beard. So we're going to do gray beard. He's got looks like this little thing is gray, but the fur behind it is not. The fur behind it is white, so we're leave that fur alone, but he's definitely got a helmet. Spear and magic helmet. Right. This is a time I would normally do aggro students, but I'm just going to put gold right on top of the gray, so I'm not going to worry about it. All right. This thing is kind of gray. There's also gold in here as well. So I better just paint this whole thing gray. Yep, and that's going to be wood on the inside. And what is this, blue? Oh, that's blue. Oh, there's more blue on here than I thought. Yeah, this last one will be a piece of cake. Let me go back to that blue. Oh, Tidal Blades has minis? I didn't even know that. Another reason why I should have gotten it. All right, so these are blue crystals, it looks like. So let's just get these blue crystals out here into the world. All right, and then this is, right, these are blue crystals on his shield, because I guess he's some frost dude. Look at that. That's blue crystals there. Blue crystals. Well, that helps pop out the shield. Otherwise, this whole thing is just a big glob. Big beefy glob of dwarf. All right, any other crystals that I missed before we get crazy? Nope, I guess not. All right, now let's go back to the gray. All right. This hammer, Thor's hammer, is gray. And the middle section is going to be gray. I'm going to leave those horns to be where they are. All right, and this, no, his gauntlets are gold. All right, cool, let's go to gold. No, you know what I'm going to do? First, I'm going to go to Gore Grunt of Fur. This is, fur is not only a great brown, makes a great ground, but it also is my go-to wood color. It's brown for wood. It goes on really heavy though, so you gotta kind of be careful how you use it. Oh, sorry, I wasn't on camera there. So there's our wooden shield. What else did I say was wood colored? Oh, I guess that's it. Oh yeah, this horn. That's right. It's not in the picture, but he's got little like drinking horns. So that's got to be drinking horn is wood colored. I guess I could have made it like a lighter bone color. But that's cool. All right, cool. Let's go to the gold. Yeah, he'll be done in 5 seconds. Which first means I want to do some dunes for some of the bigger gold parts. So that should be 5 minutes. I'm just going to throw some. This is going to be gold. This thing's going to be gold. These straps. This cup lip thing. This cup bottom. All right, his boots have gold on them. And yeah, I think that about does that. Yeah, and the funny part is this white-ish color is the color. I was going to make that like animal colored or something, but it does look like all this fur is like white, so it's just good to leave that white. Less work for us, right? Oh yeah, one last thing. This hammer's edges are gold. All right. Cool beans. I think we're coming to the end of it. So let's just. Oh, one last thing. I noticed that the little eyes in the shield are kind of glowing. So I kind of painted over that. I need to fix that really quick. Let's see. All right, that's a little bit better. Now, yeah, Ted, I never use spray paint. I can't. It does no good for my lungs, I guess is a better word to say, but it's just I can't. If I do spray paint, I really end up hacking up stuff and it's no good. So I just don't even bother with it. So I only use acrylic paints, period. That's it. Which probably makes some people feel better because you don't need to do airbrushing too. Like I would never do airbrush. It's just you need a whole paint room for that stuff, and it's ventilation is key. I mean, I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment in New York. There's no way to do it. My stance on eyes. I mainly, if they're monsters, I will give them glowy eyes by just giving them dots for eyes. If it's a hero, I'll kind of just leave it this way because there's no way I'll ever actually be able to make an eye look good. Yep, you got to know your strengths and your weaknesses. Now, I do want to try a tip I learned from somebody online the other day that you can use toothpicks for the eyes to paint with. So I am going to try that at some point. That'd be interesting to see how that goes. All right, we're going to paint on some silver on this guy, and we're just going to do our standard dry brushy kind of thing. So we'll start over here. We'll do that. We'll get some silver on his little face mask. We're going to put silver on this shield. All right, we're going to put silver on the hammer. It's hammer time. All right, I'm going to put little silver dots for these rivets. And I'll put some over here too. All right, cool. Now we just got to put the gold, and he is done. I could, you see how he's more of a blue than a turquoise? I could go ahead and put some blue on top of him as well, but I like this to be lighter. I like this lighter color, this turquoise color. And also, I'm lazy and I don't want to do more work. All right, so here is our gold challenge. First, we definitely want to get some gold on his little wrists. This little wrist thing is gold. This little epaulette is gold. So we can move that up. In fact, I can also clean up the bad silver job that I did on the rivet. All right, gold here, gold here. All right, now we have the hammer needs to be gold. Get that gold on there. All right, cool. Now here's the interesting part. So he's got golden rivets and he's got golden cheeks and a golden beard, I guess. So let's do the golden beard. Golden cheeks. Golden rivets. And then he's got gold on his face. He's got gold on his nose. This is where I'm like, I'm totally using a brush that's too big for this, but I'm also lazy. The gold on his nose. He's got gold top of his thing. And then these insides are gold. Yep. And I think, oh yeah, and then he's got golden little braids on his beard. All right. I think that'll do it. That'll do it, pig. That'll do, pig. Yeah, this model is so weird because he's got his dwarf face is hidden under this weird shield, and he's got his little beards look like dwarf faces too. The whole thing's just it's hard to read, but we did good enough, I think. All right, I think that's gonna call it for me. I think the only ones I didn't do were the pirate guy and the crossbow girl, and we can do them tomorrow. It's all good. We still did pretty good. So just to recap, we got good old Kilgore done. We got dwarf guy done. We got whatever her name is, lady done. And tiger dude with a really horrible tail. I'm going to fix later, but the rest of him came out pretty good. Yep, so that's it. So there you have it, everybody. Super Fantasy Brawl figures. There they are, and we also did these awesome statues, which are pretty cool. And you'll get to see them all on Friday. And you'll get to see her hate playing it. All right, guys, I think that's all I got in me for tonight. So thanks for hanging out. And yeah, let me know if you have any ideas. I'll put a channel in the Discord for painting stuff so we can share painting. And yeah, I hope everyone had a good time. And I'll see you guys on Friday.